Welcome to the Empower Series podcast. I want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. You are in for a treat. We have Linda No coming back for a second time around. So Sade, you're wrong, because the second time around is going to be better than the first time around. So again, I want you to get your pens and paper ready. Linda has been a guest on the Empower Series podcast 3 years ago. It's been a long time coming, and she talked about having a no-limit mindset. Today, we're going to dive a lot deeper, and we're going to get into the specifics of, so how do we deal with technically, how do we apply what we know, but we're just not doing it? Or even yet, how do we overcome fear, failure, or self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, and just be consistent and always growing and getting better? So without any further ado, I want to introduce to you again, Linda No.
Hey.
Linda,
Yeah, I don't know what Sade said. Isn't it like aging? Wine is better with age. So isn't that the same concept?
You just better anytime around, right?
Hey, that's all we ask for is growth.
So Linda, I know that you have the No Limit Incorporated, and you do a number of different things, but your focus now is on personal development, I hear, right?
I am.
Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about, because at the Empower Series, we always give hope, inspiration, education, and connecting to resources to help people to achieve their goal.
Right.
So personal development should be a continuous, lifelong process.
Yes.
Right. And we always hear about mindset this, mindset that. And so everybody has a different concept of it. You talked about mindset and what it meant to you last time we talked.
Right.
Right. And you talked about knowing your why. It's personal, but also you talked about the importance of not just knowing your why, but really being very consistent with your journaling, your visioning, not just your why, but also like your personal experiences, right? And how that culminates to a mindset. And there's not just one mindset.
For sure.
Right? You got to make it customized that fits you, right?
For sure.
Okay. So we want to pick up where we left off, right? We're going to go into the areas I talked about.
Okay.
But I still want to get an update from you. Tell me what is new with you, Linda.
Listen, I haven't seen you in 3 years, kind of.
I know.
I had a growth spurt. Not just listen, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, I'm still doing a little bit of everything. Like I genuinely enjoy learning new things. So if we do another interview in 6 months, I'm going to add another hat. Like I genuinely enjoy learning new industries, learning new languages, which I'm only at 2.5. Just learning, because at the end of the day, I'm one of the founders of a new networking organization. And I feel that the best way to network is to be valuable. And in order to be valuable, you got to know a little something.
Gotcha.
So if you can genuinely learn something new every day, it just makes you that much more valuable.
So always be growing, right? Always.
You have to, or else you're just dead, just going through the motions.
Well, I'll put something out there. Since you said you're learning a new language, so my new language is Spanish.
That's my 0.5. And listen, the language isn't necessarily, and it does not include reading and writing. As long as I can understand a good chunk of it, I feel like that should count.
Okay, so we'll stay in touch with each other.
We are not going to do the Spanish thing. For real?
The end of the year, let's do a podcast in Spanish.
Oh,
boom!
Hey.
I just put it out there.
You really did.
What?
Listen, I will take all challenges.
Okay, there we go.
And we got to put a PSA. Last time we did this 3 years ago, we did it at like midnight.
Oh, well, it's not midnight
after
now.
A 12 to 13-hour day. So
are you putting me on a blast like that?
It wasn't you on blast. The fact that Clifton catered to my schedule, because at that time, one of my hats was in Oklahoma running a business that I won't say because sometimes we get censored. But I couldn't get into your seat until like midnight that day because I had to come drive in from Oklahoma. So I just wanted to thank you again for that.
Well, I'm thanking you because, time is precious, right? And you're very, very busy. And the time you spend now, you could be doing something else. The time you spent 3 years ago, you could be doing something else. So I really want to give you acknowledgement of you investing in the community and just sharing yourself and being vulnerable, because what that does, there's no expert in the human experience.
Right.
The best we can do is share our experiences in hopes for it to help people move more gracefully through life, think more effectively, and then form like an artist, the tapestry of their life, right?
For sure.
And I think you do that very well.
We do that very well, so thank you.
Well, I'm excited because we're going to talk about mindset. And I was talking to you before we started about this is an area that I am always feeling like I'm a work in progress,
Yeah,
You know,
we should.
I don't feel like I've arrived and I'm here on the Empower series, espousing things that, oh, look what I've learned and you should, like, I should be the model.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm just the messenger, right? And if my message and your message resonates with someone, then that's who it's supposed to resonate with, right?
Yeah.
Because there are no accidents. But I really want to dive into mindset because mindset is so important. It's the way we think, right? It's what's possible. And one of the reasons I started the Empower series is I have a brother who spent 6 years homeless
Oh,
in
wow.
Los Angeles and hooked on crack. And when you look at what we do, we're always influenced by our childhood and our
For sure.
past experiences. So my brother, who is my big brother, I looked up to. It's like I wanted to be like. I could never beat him, even though I was a better athlete.
Yeah.
But I looked up to him. So when our parents passed away, when we're all in our 20s, he just, his reaction to it was getting, high on crack and being homeless.
Oh, that was his morning.
And nobody, I'm just telling you, nobody wanted that for him.
Mm.
And anytime I saw him, I took pictures because I didn't know if I was going to see him again. And then fast forward in 1994, I got a call from my uncle because he was in the hospital. And they found my uncle's number and he called me. I was in Seattle. He was still in Los Angeles. Came down there and he was like a toothpick, almost died. But he came out of that with a vision, wanting to get married and have kids.
What? That's amazing.
And I was like, dude, come on, man. What you smoking?
Right.
And so I didn't believe him, but that was his vision. And fast forward a year from then, he got married. Later on, he adopted 2 kids. One of them is married now, has a 1-year-old child, and that's a daughter. And then the other one is a personal trainer. And so I share that story only because
You need him on the show.
Well, he was on the show actually.
Okay.
In 2019, he shared his message, Tyra Johnson,
Okay.
from homelessness to father, husband,
I need to click that.
community servant.
Okay.
I share that with you only because to get through that, you had to have a mindset.
You did.
You had to have a mindset that whatever you envision is real and you can achieve it no matter who is believing you or not believing you, right? And so I say that because we're all in that place. We all have a goal. We have a goal to learn a new language.
We do.
Right
Now I have
now,
a
you only know
challenge.
half of it. I'm less than that. But I'm saying that by the end of the year, we're going to have a podcast in Spanish.
It's
Boom.
gonna be like a 5-minute podcast.
No, I didn't say how long it's going to be.
Okay, 2.5 minutes.
Hola.
Adios.
So the point is, we're going to dive into mindset, and we're going to talk about some of the challenges specifically that people face,
Yeah.
like the fear of failure. We're going to talk about what are some strategies to overcome that. We're going to talk about self-doubt, limiting beliefs, other people's negative opinions, where that needs to go. And I just want to get your input because I know that your personal story is not always, it's not rosy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've gone through some hard times and you shared some of that with us last time. But I want to know about what are your experiences? What have you learned from developing this ironclad, no limit mindset that you can share with us?
Committing to commitment, and that commitment needs to be you. So when we sit here and we talk about decisions and the power to choose, which is all powerful, but when you say I'm committing, that's almost like legal binding, right?
Wow.
But when you sit here and you say, well, I want to do something, I want to lose weight, you're just wanting, you're not committing.
Yeah.
And I think even from our last interview to now, that was one of the most profound and powerful sentence I've learned since our last conversation. Committing to commitment, and the commitment should be you.
Wow.
And once you do that, when you choose to commit, that word committing is like there is no deviations. There's no distractions. I'm committed to learning Spanish. There's no distraction. There's no excuses. There's nothing. But when you sit here and lackadaisical and just want something, you're not going to commit to it. You're not going to achieve it when you want to. So now it's about intentionally committing to you.
So one of the things for you watching this now, if you're watching this because you're interested in having the right mindset, developing the right mindset, if you're facing some challenges, we're going to talk about making a commitment. And the commitment is not going to be to a task or anything externally, but it's a commitment to you, right? It's a show of love. And as I'm saying this, I'm really looking at myself thinking, what are the areas in my life that I need to commit to, right? The relationships, the people who are important to me.
Yeah.
my vision, because I have visions for the Empower series. I have vision for myself. We talked about working out and being
Yeah.
consistent with that, right?
Yeah. Trust me, I know.
So there's
That was the worst commitment ever. Not just kidding.
so there's so many areas that we can be committed to.
Yeah.
But then I'll tell you this: one of the things, and even committing to doing more podcasts and growing this aspect of the Empower series. One of the things that I am faced with, and I'm sure other people are sometimes faced with, is this fear of what we call failure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I did poll our audience for my first program,
Did you?
and I asked them specific questions, and that's where the fear of failure and imposter syndrome came from. So I want to tackle these one by one, and let's talk about fear of failure
Okay.
or fear of just not succeeding. Um, and let's go deep with that. So let's say if you have a no limit mindset
Mm-hmm.
and you're committing to yourself, what does some of that look like? If you're committing to yourself and not letting the fear of failure just stop you from even trying.
Fear of failure has been ingrained so much into us, whether it be culture, whether it be getting that F on a paper in school, whether it be our friends and our society, and which yield embarrassments, right?
Yeah.
But as an adult, if you learn that failure is a necessity, not not part of anything, it's a necessity. You need to fail. So embrace it. So not that I'm going to say, "Oh, I'm going to wake up today to go fail." But when it comes, don't be fear of it. If you know this is part of the process, you're trusting that process, and you learn that the failure is the biggest lessons that you aren't paying for. Like if I had to pay for a university, that's a ton of money. But if I went and failed on something, that lesson right there is why I can charge what I charge when it comes to personal development. That's why Tony Robbins can charge $1 million for a consult fee. That's why all of your idols that you're idling can charge what they charge because of all their failures. So from their failures, they learn so much valuable lessons that if I can say, Clifton, this is what I did, this is where it went wrong, so let's turn around and do this. I'm now educating you based on my failure. Not to say that you would commit that same failure, but now you know how to prevent the same mistakes I went. So when you look at how failure is so powerful to your process, there's nothing to be fear of.
Yeah, but there's a challenge with that, though, because a lot of times we can easily say, embrace failure or reframe failure as a learning experience. But at the end of the day, nobody wants to listen to someone who fails. Like everybody who is successful, everybody that's charging $1 million, even though underneath is a lot of failure, they're not leading with the failure. They're leading with the success. They're leading with how much money I've made or look what I've done. And so there's an illusion of success that people are chasing, but they're not leading with, look how many businesses I failed in.
But
right?
when you actually are dealing with somebody that's authentic, who is now in their winning season or their winning day, right? They will share and be transparent and vulnerable with you about those failures. That is, even if they don't say, this is exactly how I failed, the fact that they're able to talk to you with so much wisdom and confidence, that's the result of failure.
Yeah.
So anytime you're doing something, you're looking for a positive end result, right? So even through any and all failures, you're learning a lesson. That lesson right there is called a positive result. So if you can reframe your mindset to thinking, okay, you know what, not that I'm looking forward to fail, but if it doesn't go as planned today, now I've learned how to be a professional pivoter, right?
Yeah.
And if anything that COVID has taught us is to learn how to pivot in life. We all planned on going to 9 to 5. We all planned on seeing our family when we saw them. But when COVID shut down and told you what you can and cannot do, you had to pivot.
Okay, so I'm going to share with you then. When we don't, if we lose a job, if our income is decreases, if we lose a relationship, right, or get dumped on or whatever, that affects our confidence, and that is perceived as a failure. Where I'm getting at is that our sense of confidence is based on success, not failure. And so when you have somebody who's getting beat down, like they got fired, their relationship, the person that they were going after.
Listen, my picker is still broke, and I'm still confident.
That's the point. So my question is, what is the solution? What do you do in those situations if you get to that point where your confidence is shaken, but you know you need to reframe it? What are some things that you do or that other people can do to help them reframe?
Listen, I wake up every day with a journal and pen in hand.
Gotcha.
And I know that's not, listen, I was that girl that's like, what is a piece of paper and a pen gonna do? Like, I don't have time for this. Like, I was that girl that's like, I don't really care to read much. I gotta go, 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 go. I gotta make things happen.
Yeah.
That was my life. Like, you know me now too, like busy, busy, busy. But it is committing to ourselves where you give yourself that 30 minutes when you wake up. I know people say there's no time. There is time. You just got to make it. So if you're normally an 8 a.m. riser, wake up at 7 or 7:30 just to give you that 10 minutes. Because this is the thing. If I want you to give me your time and money, but I'm not giving me time and money, how do I expect you to do that? So I wake up every morning and I say, what is my 3? I just start off with 3. There are days, don't get me wrong, I might come with 2. And some days are 1 days.
Yeah.
But I make sure that I write something on that piece of paper that says, what am I waking up to achieve today? Before you go to bed, bring it back out. Did you achieve that one goal? Let's just say it's something nonchalant. Let's just say filling up the gas tank. I know that means nothing, but at the end of the day, when you said I filled it up, because knowing Linda, if you know me, you know that if a squirrel across the street, I'm gonna forget to go fill up my gas tank.
Yeah. Like and like fill it up the night before because you're not gonna have time in the morning.
Right. I
Gotcha.
mean, it's just these different little distractions. And or for me personally, has been my post is, or my journaling is post this week. Let's make sure you post something to your social media at least once or twice this week or something like that, right? And by the end of the day, if you can accomplish it, celebrate that you just did that. So the problem with us is that we're going to sit here today and we're going to say, Clifton, I want to be a millionaire. Right now, I might be 100,000-aire. And by tomorrow, I want to be a millionaire. That is such an unrealistic jump unless you're doing certain businesses. I know there are exceptions out there.
Yeah.
But because when we don't make that million,
Yeah.
that's when we lose our confidence. But if I said, if I can get one sale today, that's one step closer. I'm going to celebrate that win because based on your neurons, and I know people get all weird, but when it comes to your energy and your brains, the actual physical things that are moving through your brain cells, anytime you celebrate wins, the momentum that you get, the dopamines that you're increasing, that genuinely creates more wins. It sounds so weird and goofy and like, oh, what planet is she on? But it genuinely, like, listen, if you guys know my story, I have been at the dumpsters type of mindset. And that's the only thing that genuinely got me out of it, saying, you know what, I'm celebrating each win. And that's why now when people are like, oh, I don't want to celebrate my birthday or I don't want to celebrate this, I was that girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just another day. It's no big deal. But
Another
now
day in
I've
the life.
learned to celebrate. When I look back at everything I've done, it's amazing. Like, I'm like, I didn't know I've touched this many lives, or I didn't know I've changed these people's lives. And that's the one thing social media is a plus for me. When I do go out for these networking events, people are like, you don't know me, but I'm finally glad to meet you. You saved my life and didn't know it. Or those are wins.
Yeah.
Those are like, forget about the bad day you woke up with. What he or she just said, that made everything that I have been doing, sacrificing, stressing out, worth that win. And that's where we need to start stacking up our wins to overcome those bad days where we get dumped or whatever. And to say, instead of, listen, if I ever get dumped, which I haven't, it's either a neutral thing, because I don't want to sound arrogant, but I stay past the expiration date. So that's why
I got you on that.
I usually get to be the dumper. But you still get a chance to say, you know what, I avoided a heartache, a bigger heartache.
Yeah.
Or I learned, like, listen, I've been in relationships. And on our last podcast, I shared with you one of my relationships, I was abused, right? But with that relationship, I learned and gathered so many more contacts that I met through our relationship that now today I consider my sisters or my best friends.
Yeah.
And so I have to look at that as a win. So yeah, the relationship didn't always have great moments, but the takeaway from those relationships, focus on that. So no matter what kind of, whether you got fired, whether you got dumped, focus on the takeaways. Write down your takeaways. Write down what you learned. What did that job teach you that you would have had to pay some university or some master class a few bucks for.
Mm-hmm.
Take away and stack up your wins, because people get paid on those. Like, if you're money hungry, or if you're, and we all have a sprinkle of that in our system, because we want better lives. And I think I had to get out of that mindset too, Clifton, is stop being afraid to say we want all the money in the world. Stop feeling like that's a crime. Stop feeling like that's a bad thing. You know, like I don't have a number. I want unlimited, because I want to be able to travel when I feel like it. I want to go bless a community in Africa if I want it. I want to go to Vietnam and build up bridges or whatever. I want to be able to do that. So no, there's not a cap. There's not a in number that's going to make me happy. It's unlimited. So we need to stop thinking that, oh my God, that's a sin or that's a crime or that. I humbled myself out of way too many blessings because of that. And when we sit here, and I used to be so bad with this, Clifton will say, hey, you need help? No, I'm good. Knowing darn well, either I'm hungry or I need a bill or I need something. But when you sit here and you act like all is well, quit asking God for help when Clifton just tried to help you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Because God can only help you through people, right? Basically. And
I mean, God could make me have the winning lotto number the 1 or 2 times I buy those things, but nonetheless, stop humbling yourself out of blessings.
Right.
It is okay to want things out of life. And I think because of my culture, and a lot of it's because of culture, we want to be respectful and yada, yada. That's fine. Right? And I'm not here to disrespect culture, but I'm also here to say, let's create our own. Right. Why not? If we can have 10 million different brands of toilet paper, why can't we have 10 different new versions and updated versions of our culture? Right? Yeah. Like, have we ever thought about that? We haven't. Our old culture is a lot of people who are no longer with us, who are unalive, who sat around and had dinner and said, you know what? We need to pass this on. Well, who said we got to keep doing that?
Yeah. It's limiting, right?
It's very
it's not
limiting.
in line with what you want. So what I'm hearing, no pun on no limit.
Right.
Unlimited.
God knew what he was doing.
So here's what I'm hearing then, right? To really overcome this fear of failure, you really have to commit to yourself, number one. I would say also raise your level of expectation. Expect more. But you talked about journaling.
But celebrate more.
Yeah. So there's 3 pieces. So journaling is one. Mm-hmm. So journaling is like really being aware, like write down your feelings, like put it on paper so you can see it. And then on that, translate it. If you have a failure, then take the time to write down in your journal, what have you learned from that? Right. Right. That's what I'm hearing. And then number 2, celebrate the small successes. Mm-hmm. So don't measure it like anything. I woke up this morning. Yeah. I've already won.
Right. That part.
Like I smiled to somebody. Yeah. Whatever it is, no matter how little it is, celebrate the successes. And then the other thing you have was write down goals. Mm-hmm. So, the goal can be something small.
Right. No, like make it small. So that way you're not beating yourself up when you're not achieving it in a timely manner. And be fair. Don't think you're going to be a millionaire again in 2 hours. Like, again, unless you win the lotto. Right. But don't stop doing that. Stop being hard on yourself when the whole world is already hard enough.
And look, and it's been hard for me to journal every day consistently.
It is.
So we're gonna stop beating ourselves up on that, right? Right. But the goal is to write it down. No matter how many times you said you're gonna write down something you haven't, write it down anyway.
Listen, if you don't because I have been guilty too, because journaling thing was to me a hard commitment. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, this is so boring. Like, who does this? And I'm talking to myself already. What I got to write it down, what I'm saying to myself. But if you forget, voice to text on your notes. Now, I
do that.
I do hate Siri because she makes me sound very illiterate when I'm voice to noting. And I'm like, what was I thinking? Because I can't really quite understand what I was saying. But you have so much things at your hand, like at the tips of your fingertips or whatever you call it, that you can there's no excuses. At the end of the day, there's no excuses. Either write it down or text it to yourself. Mm. And then that way you can kind of go back, and when you do have time, you can actually journal it. But I also stepped up my journaling and saying, why do I feel like I'm feeling right now? Mm. So there are days, because I teach emotional intelligence, Sometimes you wake up and you're in a great mood. Write it down. I woke up in a great mood today. If there's a reasoning, write why. When you're feeling blah or down, right, I'm feeling down right now. It's 5:05 and I'm feeling kind of low energy. This phone call didn't go well and it's bringing me down. That way you can be aware.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest secret to correcting all of your lack of confidence is being self-aware.
Yeah.
But it's hard to be self-aware when you're go, 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 go. And then you forget certain steps that you went through throughout the day, or you forget certain incidents that happened that brought you to that space. So if you can journal, text yourself, write a little something to yourself, so that way you can notate the different emotions that you go throughout the day. And then you can pinpoint what made me so happy. Back in the day, I was like, Starbucks, I don't care what kind of bad day I had. I would go to Starbucks, and for some weird, odd reasoning, I'm just like, I got my Starbucks, I'm good. They've been fired. But but now it's just like you find your new happy space, and lately I've been committed to yoga. Yoga is my happy space. Even if I'm 10 minutes late, I'm like, you know what? 50 minutes is better than none at all.
Yeah.
And it just brings you to this, like when it just clicked about committing to me and the teachings that I used to teach where you are your brand, everything else is label,
Mm-hmm.
all that aligns. And then when you genuinely stack your wins, when you wake up or go to bed and read all your accomplishments for today, there's no reason you should wake up in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Unless you wake up from a phone call.
But here's the challenge though, because we are very busy.
Yeah.
And so for me, I heard that if you don't have 20 minutes in a day to
Mhm.
meditate,
Yeah.
then you really need to meditate for an hour. Because but you also, like just today,
Mhm.
I meditated in my car for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I put my timer on and just slowed down and relaxed.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take, a lot of time.
It doesn't.
Even if you have minutes between your back-to-back meetings. So I like what you're saying though. I'm trying to think again. This
And can I interject while you're
Sure.
thinking?
Yeah.
I don't even like putting me on a time limit.
Mm.
If you know you need to meditate or if you know you need some me time, take it. I don't care what time or day. If you got an hour this morning for yourself and you need another 5 to 20 minutes later, take it.
Yes.
Listen.
Now I remember what I was going to say. So here's the
Yeah.
deal.
You
So
are the point guard. That's all I can say.
Everything we're talking about is doable.
Yeah.
Like it's not impossible to do.
Facts.
Right. So, but people are thinking, oh, this is so hard.
Right.
It's so hard to journal. It's so hard to but here's the thing. The reason why people don't do it is because it's also very easy not to do it.
For sure.
It's very easy not to do it, but it's possible. So another change on your mindset is that this is easy to do. I
Mhm.
can do it.
Yeah.
Right? I can't take time for myself. I can expect more from myself, right?
Mhm.
I can do it. So please, the stuff we're talking about might seem like, oh, okay, I know it. But if you're not doing it,
Mhm.
then get out of the way. Like,
Yeah.
do it. Just get it done. It will make a difference, right? It will make a difference.
It does. You just have to put value on yourself.
Okay.
Like, how much are you worth?
Wow. Why you gotta go there?
Because if I had to say, Clifton, if I wrote you a check for $1 million, would you meditate?
Okay, I do that too. It's not, what is it? It's either will or skill,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always will.
Mm-hmm.
Because if at the end of the day, if we were gonna get a check or if we were gonna get whatever we wanted,
Mm-hmm.
there would be no excuse.
Right.
We would get it done.
But my thing is, why is it a trinket? Why is it not reality? If I said I'm going to commit to meditating and visualizing my millionaire status, what we send our energy and our focus to yields our results. So it's like wherever your energy goes, whatever flows, whatever everybody. I hate all these different little trendy things because it just sounds like a cute little rhyme, but it's unrealistic sometimes because we have our bad days. But if you genuinely build yourself every day, you're going to be where you want to be.
But Linda, okay. First of all, I'm gonna push back a little bit.
Yeah.
That stuff, okay, it's easy to say,
It's not easy to do.
right? Because it's like we
But
say.
would you
it,
rather never do it and never get it?
but here's the thing then. So what is the solution to doing the things that we know is possible to do
Mm-hmm.
that would get us the results, but we're not doing it?
So what I'm giving y'all free game because this is what I charge people for.
That's what we're doing in the Power Series.
It is. See, because y'all got a friend like Clifton here. I have my own separate notebook.
Okay.
And it's like your dream, whatever you want to call it, to make you pick up that thing. It's called reverse engineer.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard me say this
Yeah,
at
you
my
talked
last
about
event.
that before, yeah.
So whatever your goal is, your end goal is, write it. Now we're going to reverse engineer your steps. That way it doesn't make it look like it's ugly to do or it's unrealistic to do.
Mhm.
So yes, the writing and the mini stacks doesn't look like a big win, but when you stop and say, okay, this is my progress. I didn't do nothing. So in 7 days, I got nothing to show for it.
Right.
So just test yourself out on this. So here it is. I'm gonna start my journal. I'm gonna put my end goal. Let's now break the steps down for a reverse engineer. Let's just say it's $1 million. This is like a quickie example. Steve Harvey does this very well. You want to be a millionaire? Okay, now divide that by however you want, whether it be by 352, 56. If you want to have a day off, divide it by 200 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really what you want.
Right.
I don't want to work every single day, but if it's what is my value every single day? So you divide that by either 12 months or your days, whatever works and floats your boat. And then start setting individual daily goals to accomplish it.
Mhm.
But I promise you, once you start seeing that you made that first sale or that first step to losing that first pound, it's going to get you excited. But you got to be able to have that friend that you can celebrate. Like, I'm going to call you, Clifton, and be like, hey, Clifton, I just did my first sale. We're going to congratulate. Let's go have a little nice mocktail or unmocktail and then celebrate. You know, like, those are the types of things that get you so excited. And you have this natural glow. Your winning glow is what I call it.
Right.
So people's like, why are you so happy? And then it just attracts. Like, the biggest cliche that is so real is you don't chase, you attract. Right? That goes for business. That goes for personal. And when you literally just do the work because you enjoy it, you're just going to naturally attract it. I guess, again, I get it. It sounds cute. It sounds all pretty and fluffy.
Yeah.
But listen, I've pretty much been homeless, lived in a hotel for 14 months. I've been in bad, horrible relationships. My dad shot and killed my mom when I was 3. Didn't have a mom. Celebrate each Mother's Day with my kids because I don't have a mom to celebrate with. So I get it. Like, my whole life has not been like silver spoon fed or anything. So I get that it's hard to genuinely say, this sounds too easy to get my goal.
I'm glad you share that, right? I'm glad you share that.
Our problem is we are wired to work hard and get a big paycheck. That's our first mistake. Why do we have to work so hard to prove that we're worth being a millionaire? Why do I have to prove and work so hard to say, you know what, Clifton, I need you to pay me $10,000 to do this podcast, or to come speak to this school, or to come speak to this corporation? When your Myrons, your Les's, your Tonys, your Lisa Nichols, they can charge whatever they want. They write their own check and people will pay for it and will come because they built up their value. They leveraged their time and skill set for that paycheck. Why are we not following those footsteps? Why do we sit here and think that we have to do some big grand gesture to get a big grand reward? That is the biggest part that yields imposter syndrome, that yields depression, that yields lack of confidence, that yields, I want to quit because it's too damn hard.
Okay,
Stop doing that.
I was just about to go there. I was about to go to...
Beat you to it.
You did. So here's a couple of things. Number one, I feel like I can hear people listening to this now saying, yeah, you know, this all talk. But I would tell you that everybody who's reached some level of success has practiced these principles of consistency, has done things that they didn't feel like doing, but they did it anyway.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there who are capable of doing it, but for one reason they're not. And that's why mindset is important, because their mindset is a person's mindset is even going to listen to this podcast and feel that it's all BS.
They're going to criticize everything that comes out of our mouth. Right.
It's all BS. Or let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
Let me do it. And to your point, you've been homeless. Your father killed your mom.
Carless.
Like, I mean, you've gone through some challenges, right? Like, you don't
sexual abuse through family members, lawsuits through family members.
And I would tell you that
people backstabbing.
Everybody has some shit that they've gone through.
Yeah.
Almost everybody, right? Even myself and my family that I'm finding out for the first time. And so you can't get out of this world without going through hardship.
Yeah.
But the path to getting what you want is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
You have to have an ironclad mindset that doesn't let negative shit prevent you from doing what needs to be
Moving
done.
forward. And this is the
Right?
thing, because I will be one of those listeners that's like, oh my God, this is so boring. Like they're just saying all the crap that doesn't give us any tangibles. So the one tangible I would love to offer is to get out of your bed, get out of your house, go find a good networking group, or go find a nice, classy restaurant. Open your mouths. I don't care what you do. I don't care where you're doing at. If you're at a professional networking event or if you're just out and about, stop making everybody strangers. They're only strangers until you open your mouth and make them a friend
Yeah.
or make them an asset. That's the biggest thing tangibly. We can sit here and have all the greatest mindset, but one of the biggest mindset is stop thinking you have to do this by yourself. Stop thinking that everything that comes out of your mouth is stupid. If I don't know something, I'm going to go ask it. Hell, worst case scenario, ask ChatGPT or somebody on the AI space and then go ask a real human being and compare notes. I don't care. But just at some point, get out of that house. And I know, like, I just talked to some of the students this past weekend, and a lot of them are very shy, very timid, and they lack confidence in speaking in public, or they don't like making new friends. There's nothing I can do for you until you just said, you know what? I'm going to commit to my end goals, whether it be a thousandaire, millionaire, a successful businesswoman, or a great successful corporate person. But you can't do anything if you don't open your mouth.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you got to take action.
You have to take action.
And the solution to fear is always action,
Mhm.
because fear wants you to not do anything. It paralyzes you, right? But if you take action, you find out that, oh, it's not as bad as you thought.
Mhm.
And it's survivable. It's survivable, right? You can get through it.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm hearing you say. So take action, whether it's getting out your house, moving. When you're depressed, you want to stay in bed, not wake up. So get up, right?
Yeah.
Your first win is getting up. You woke up today, right? So
Yeah.
you're breathing. There's some people who went to bed who are not waking up, not breathing.
Exactly.
So that could be your first success. Get out of bed. And even though it's harder than hard, so we're not saying this is
Listen,
not
I've
hard.
I've experienced
is real.
depression. And the craziest thing is you don't know you're depressed until somebody says you're depressed. And then you're like, stop calling me depressed.
Yeah.
And then that also triggers you. It depends on what kind of personality you are. But if you're calling me depressed, I'm like, don't speak that over my life. And now I'm like, okay, but what am I now? Because I am in bed. Google what is depression. And it's like, you're always in bed. You're always tired.
like
You
me.
don't want to do anything. I was like, fudge. Were they right? So then it's like, okay, I'm not going to let you sit here because I'm so competitive no matter if I'm depressed or not. I'm like, you're not about to call me depressed again. But at the end of the day, I get it. Not everybody's like us. But if you can just pick up the phone, start with something small. Make a friend that you can call at no matter what. I'm a 24-hour person, meaning certain people has 24-hour access to me. That's your 24-hour person. So if you
Got it.
have a day and a moment where you just need that person, find that. I think that is a true secret to a lot of people's success.
Well, here's the hope. The Empower Series can be that for you. Thrive at empowerseries.com. So if you're at home right now, depressed, feeling like you don't have any friends, you don't know what to do, you need to reach out. Thrive at empowerseries.com. Don't keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Reach out.
Or follow us on social media, and I'm always sharing stupid, funny memes.
Yeah.
And people will literally say that, and I don't even know them, and they'll DM me, and I'm DMing them back, and they're like, "Thank you, you've made my day." So it's just like the small wins. When I tell you, it doesn't take much to kind of. I know it feels a lot much, and I lived those muches. But after it gets to the point when you're tired of being sick and tired, that's the only time anything I say or Clifton says is going to matter, is when you're just at that point where enough is enough. I'm sick of being tired. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's the only time when a person's going to just click.
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was a magic word that somebody's going to just hear and I can just be, boom, get out of it. Now, I have some friends that have tried hypnosis. I can refer you. But, you know, it's when you're that tired and you are ready to commit to yourself, then everything that we say is magical. Everything that we say will be tangible. Like, I literally, just call me. I shouldn't say that too loud.
Gotta give up that number.
But I call myself the creative consultant. If you give me an idea, I'm gonna spit it back to you.
Look, and you're on LinkedIn.
I am on
You're
LinkedIn.
Instagram,
Mhm.
right? So she's accessible.
I am accessible.
So one of the things I do, and I like what you're saying, because you mentioned about relationships. Nobody can do it all by themselves. No one has ever done anything by
Nobody should
themselves.
want to. Like, I don't want to be a millionaire and be like by myself.
Mhm.
I don't even like to go eat by myself. I'm learning, but I don't like it.
But you got to be careful, because
Yeah.
Dr. George Fraser said, "What is a relationship?" And he defines a relationship as someone who comes into your life and they do one of four things:
Okay.
either add, subtract, divide, or multiply.
For sure.
And most people who are doing nothing want you to do nothing with them.
Yeah.
They want to divide, they want to subtract from your life, and they want to divide where you want to build relationships with people who are adding to your life.
Yeah.
You're adding to theirs.
Yeah.
And then through that comes multiplication. So what we're doing, even in our collaboration here, our conversation, we're blessing millions of people with this podcast that's going to be out there on the YouTube in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And they're going to be inspired. They're going to hear a word from your experience that's going to give them hope to get up out of bed and take some kind of action to commit to themselves, increase their level of expectation, and achieve their goal. And by them achieving their goal and committing to themselves, really, it's not really for them, which is crazy. Because when you do that, you do it for other people, right?
That's why I said, like, even today, giving time and thanking each other for time, it's also selfish, because it's like, this is us sowing seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even you don't even have to thank me, but I love the gratitude, the state of gratitude. So it's like, it's all needed. Like, when I hear people say, you don't have to thank me, I'm like, yes, I do. I don't care if you're just giving me a bottle of water. Thank you. Because that spirit of gratitude is so obsolete these days. So still be grateful, but also say, thank you. And I'm happy to do it. It's my pleasure, because this is also me sowing seeds into the universe or to God's kingdom. And so I'm happy to do sharing my wisdom.
Okay.
Right. And so we just have to, again, those are the small things that we have to strip the fluff.
All right. So I want to bring something else up, right? Because, we can be here for 2
We
hours.
really can. We really can
So
be here.
here's
all
what
day.
we got. Number one, we talked about fear, and we talked about the solution to that.
Yeah.
But then number two, you mentioned it, imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
So what is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is basically people who've reached some level of success, and we are all successful at something, but yet we feel like we're not.
Yeah.
And we have self-doubt. And so you will find that very successful people are experiencing imposter syndrome. It's crazy what we do to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And so I would tell you personally, I've even had doubts.
Yeah.
Like the team here see my doubts. If you see the stuff that doesn't make the editing,
Yeah.
it's on the floor. Man, if they really saw that. So I'm critical of myself. I can say that I have high expectations,
Mhm.
but also I can say that there's some challenges that I have when I want to do things that are greater than what I perceive my ability to do. And I have to really embrace that. I don't know if you've experienced that.
All the time.
So here's the thing. Let's talk about that. The no limit mindset and perspective.
Yeah.
How do people deal with imposter syndrome?
Embrace it. Everything is about embracing and understanding and switching what it means. Imposter syndrome to me means, like you said, I feel like I haven't done enough. That goes back to your journal. What have you done for the day?
Mhm.
Stacking up the stuff you have done. When you take it one step further, it just means that you have an actual heart that cares. Because if you didn't feel a little bit imposters, you're like, I've done enough. I've arrived. Remember that
Right.
thought? So a little bit of imposter syndrome to me is healthy, because it just means that you're such a big heart and you just want to keep giving more and doing more. And
And I
that's
can be
okay.
better. I can do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, why is that look at as something negative?
Mhm.
Take it one step further, again, because I always want to give our audiences a tangible feeling. Go call up somebody. Or if you're active on social media, Clifton, what is my brand? How do I leave you feeling when you and I act?
Mhm.
So, Clifton, tell me right now in front of our whole world, since you've met me, when you think of Linda, what do you think of? You guys, I'm putting him on the spot.
I know it's
None
crazy.
of this is scripted.
So when I see you, right, and when I hear you speak, I go like, wow, I can be better. That's how I feel. I can be better.
You can be better than me or better than for you.
No, myself.
I'm just
I know.
fascinated.
Like I think you're like here, and I'm right here. It's like, okay, I need to raise my game. So when I saw you at the networking event,
Hmm.
right? You were just such a natural in sharing your energy, handling the crowd, dealing with questions and help with the host. It's like I was thinking, wow, I want to be as good as you, right? So whenever I see you, you always make me want to raise my game and be better,
So
right?
that's a perfect example. So if I woke up today feeling like a piece of imposter syndrome,
Hmm.
I would just call you or call somebody, whether they know me in detail or they barely know me, and see what people think of me. And that restores some of my confidence.
Mm.
Because
So you have to
sometimes
make sure you call the right people though.
that's what I'm saying.
Don't call your exes.
Probably not.
Okay.
Unless you're friends with them.
Right.
But that's the thing. When you call for your reinforcement,
Hmm.
and for me, like I said, I can call you or I can call or look into my social media, some of my DMs. You look at your comments. And again, I know not a lot of people love the social media space, but this is just for people who are. But I've looked at my LinkedIn and listen, I don't post enough, and that is going to be one of my commitments. I maybe post once a month and I should be more. But when I do post, the love and the support, or if I don't posts, people are asking, "Are you okay? Why have we not heard from you? We need our positive medicine." Those are all things that I should put in my journal as wins.
Right.
Those are what's going to help me not feel so imposter syndrome-ish. But yeah, you do want to see more. And our problem is when you go to God, you don't say, "Well, God, this blessing's tiny. This blessing is great." Blessings are blessings. You shouldn't size up blessings. So you shouldn't size up your wins. You shouldn't sit here and say, "Well, I didn't have a big enough win today, so I'm depressed." Stop beating ourselves up, because that's our biggest problem, is that we sit here. The smallest wins that we think is nothing is somebody's biggest dream, biggest wish for the day. They can only hope that they accomplish that today.
I love that. Don't size up your wins.
Stop sizing up your wins.
So yeah, thinking about you and your brand. So personal development is one aspect of what you do.
Mhm.
And so your influence on me is to help me raise my game,
Okay.
right? And that is in alignment with your brand, right?
It
Because we
is.
can all be better. I think it's also interesting because you know, no matter what level you're at, there's always someone that is not where you are that
Mhm.
you can reach down and pull up.
Yeah.
And no matter what level you're at, there's always someone above you that is doing greater. So as you're striving to grow and I'm holding on to your hand, trying to
Mhm.
keep up with you, there's always somebody that I can lift up.
Mhm.
So it should be networking should be like this. You're mentoring someone and you're
A
seeking for
student of
mentorship,
somewhere else.
right? So that's what I was thinking about when you were talking.
It's the circle of life, but stop comparing.
Yeah.
Stop comparing yourself to the person that you think is ahead of yourself. Because, you look at your Oprahs and your Beyoncés and your people that you love to idol. The minute they get off of stage or the camera's off, they're gonna ask their 24-hour person, "Was I good enough? Did I do okay? Did I look okay? Did I mess up?"
We
So
all are human,
our
right?
biggest mentor, our biggest idols, our biggest inspiration in human form, they all have had their ugly yuck days.
And they're all looking for validation.
They all look for validation.
Yeah.
So it's okay to look for validations for yourself as well. We're human nature. Like, that's our human nature. Like, we want to be validated. We don't wake up every day to be like, "I hope I'm invisible today,
So
but
the
successful."
mindset around imposter syndrome is flip the switch.
Flip it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I need to be better.
Yeah.
Right. Why have imposter syndrome be so negative? It's only negative if you
And,
allow
and
that to
stop saying
stop
you
you from.
need to be better. Just say, "I want to be better."
Yeah.
Because when you say you need, that just means you're lacking something.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So I want to be
I
better.
want to be better.
Like, I'm
I
going
can
to
be
be
better.
better.
And I
Like,
can be better.
oh, shoot, I thought I was great. Let me go be greater.
I am better.
Exactly. So literally, I get it. I'm telling you, I am in y'all's seat right now when I'm like, that is so fluffy, right? Like, I'm sick and tired of everybody talking about everything is so great and fluffy, but it works. Like, when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, I was like, okay, let me try to be positive to myself.
Okay. Well, you do this.
That was the problem. I
What
was positive to everybody else, but when it came to me, I was on empty.
What are you struggling on right now?
Let's see. I am working on a talk show, a live audience talk show, and I have the fear of not giving enough value.
Mm.
to my audience and to my guests.
Can you imagine that? I can't imagine that, but that's real
Yeah.
talk, right?
Yeah. Because it's like me and you having this conversation. Am I boring somebody? Like, I want the 100 millions of people that are listening. I want every single one to be happy. I want every single one to get something from it. But is that realistic?
Look, at the end of the day, nobody can take your audience.
Yeah.
There are people out there waiting to hear your voice. Just like there are people out there waiting to hear your voice if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
And those people are only your people. Nobody else can reach them.
Yeah.
And so by you taking action, by you doing this talk show, you're not competing with anybody else.
Right.
Because your audience is waiting for you. They're going like, what took you so long, Linda?
Listen, and it's funny because I advised this young kid who I also call as a bonus son. He's doing an amazing podcast with his mom. And he's like, we're not going to release today because another favorite podcast is releasing today. So I'm just like, how about we all watch them and then I'll just release mine later. I'm like, but why? Because it's like now we have 2 amazing podcasts to watch on a Monday versus having to wait a whole nother day. Because it's not like your podcast is going to take 24 hours. Right. So I'm going to watch it for 30 minutes to an hour. And then I want something else later on to watch at night or in the morning or lunchtime. So those are the types of things that in our minds, we need to stop competing with people. You're only competing with yourself. And at the end of the day, God gave us all our special superpowers. And it is up to us to release that. And we can't be wrong. You're the only Clifton. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whatever comes out of Linda's mouth, it's not wrong. It's Linda's world. It's Linda's life. So all I'm saying is I'm teaching you and speaking on my personal experiences and my personal perspective. I'm not shoving it down your throat and saying this is how you should live your life, but I'm sharing my experiences in hopes of inspiring or providing a different alternative perspective. And that's all we can do. And some of us get paid for that. Yeah. So that's why, listen, y'all, when I started getting into the coaching space and to the personal development space, Tony Robbins is my mentor. And I took all of Tony's classes. People are paying you big dollars to not run into that same red brick wall that you had to run in and pick yourself up from. Your failures is what people are paying for because they're wanting to prevent that failure. So embrace all things you.
So when's your book coming out?
After my show. I started to write 1 chapter and then I was like, oh, I want to wait for a bigger pot of gold because nobody's going to want to hear a girl that doesn't have her pot of gold. So, I mean, listen, I've been through all that with you guys. So to me, like these podcasts, these interviews, these networking events where I get to share and pour into people, and I thank people for receiving anything I've poured or shared. That's my small wins that I go home and I said, oh, we did good today. You know, we did this, we did this. I felt good, felt a little nervous. I'm sweating right now, but I got through it. Clifton didn't say we need to take a break. Jose, let's cut it so she can go dab herself. I didn't get none of that yet. So
we don't do that here. Right.
Or suck it up because this is me, right? So, I mean, there's always a way to pivot. Yeah. And so I was in damage control world. I've done PR. So for me, PR yourself, damage control yourself. Being authentically you is your biggest superpower. So there are days where your girl doesn't have the greatest makeup days or the greatest hair days. Even today, they did not equip me with mirrors.
Oh, wow. Where you
so at the end of the day, however y'all got me. This is one version of me.
We are about authenticity, right?
And that's what I'm saying. So when you start getting comfortable that nobody can replicate who you are with or without good days, makeup days, or what you men go through as y'all's good look days, that's you. That's the authentic you. So even when I started filming my show, I'm like, oh, I don't feel skinny today or I don't feel healthy today. Who cares? I'm sharing that with my audience because they're not going to wake up every day airbrushed and filtered.
I love that. So what I'm hearing now is that we're all unique individuals.
We definitely are.
Out of the billions of people in this world,
no 2 fingerprints the same.
There's a unique message and purpose that we have, and the world is waiting for us.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for that book. We'll be patient. But here's what
not by the end of this year.
I want to talk about 2 more things.
Okay.
Number 1, so as we compete with ourselves, we tend to give energy to external criticism. Mm-hmm. So the imposter syndrome, self-doubt, fears that our own self-talk. Mm-hmm. But then sometimes we give more energy to people like, ooh, critics, like bad comments
Mhm.
or a thumbs down or whatever. So with a no limit mindset,
Mhm.
what are some of the solutions to address not putting so much weight on what other people think? And we can always say, I don't care what they think.
I don't believe
That's
that.
BS,
Yeah.
right? That's BS, right? We do care. And
Yeah.
so what boundaries can you put around that?
That's free lessons.
Talk to me more about that.
I
What do you mean?
care. I'm not going to be one of those. And like you said, I don't believe those people who say, I don't care what other people think. And I
Mhm.
know some of our celebrities like post it and go, like don't read the comments.
Yeah.
But if it's something that we're doing with intentions to help people, I want to read the comments. I want to know what I can do better. The person who puts the thumbs down or saying I'm full of something, those you don't take.
Mhm.
Unless you want to say, is there a reason why you're saying that? Like there have been times where I will go and say, is there a reason why I'm getting this comment? Is there something I could have done better? Or are you just having a bad day? You can't sit here and allow a snapshot of your day ruin your whole destiny
Mhm.
or your whole purpose, right?
I'll write that down.
Everything is a snapshot. Every day is a new snapshot. And you can't, it's just like social media. You're looking at other people's social media. You're looking at the snapshot of their success, but you don't know all the ugly sweat equity that they've been through. And that's the same thing that you have to apply to yourself. There's sweat equity that you have to put in order to get whatever it is you're wanting to yield. So there are days where, yes, I'm going to need, Clifton, I need our feedback today after we cut.
Mhm.
What can I do better?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if I don't ask for that and I don't look for, if I get all thumbs up, it's kind of like that same saying, if you're the smartest one in your group, you probably need a new group.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with comments. Yes, you're going to get 98% of greatness, but there's always a room to learn.
The
So
growth is in the 5%. That's not
exactly.
Hey, oh, you're wonderful. You're beautiful. It's like, okay, I know that.
You don't need
Tell me
you
something I
don't
don't
need
know.
the butt kissers or the yes mans in your circle all the time.
So what I'm hearing then is like change the mindset and the framework around what other people think. Don't let that stop you. I like the fact
Those are called free teachers.
don't let a snapshot or a negative snapshot change your destiny.
Mhm.
And I when you said that, I was thinking about my brother.
Yeah.
So my brother was in the hospital, and there's pictures of him on some of the other podcasts we've done. But there were pictures of him in the hospital, like a toothpick, him telling me that he wants to get married. And I'm looking at him going like, really,
You're
bro?
doubting. Yeah.
So if he let my criticism and my judgment prevent him from doing the work to where a year from that day or that month he's married,
Yeah.
don't let that happen to you.
Because he could have heard your comment and be like, all right, I'm going to prove my brother wrong. Watch this.
Yeah.
And it could have actually helped him stay on that motivation and kept him committed to that. But this is the thing. As people know, when there's a new product out, new product, service, anything you're buying and spending your good money on, there's this thing that it has to go through called R&D, standing for research and development.
Mhm.
Your comments or your negative, so-called negative feedback, that's your R&D for whoever and whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So just listen, if it was this cup that had to go through the R&D development, it probably could have cost you a pretty shiny penny check, something to pay a whole company to do the research and development. So when you get these negative comments, look at that as free R&D. It was a check you didn't have to write.
Yeah, yeah. And you got to believe in yourself. So another example of my brother when he came to Dallas from Los Angeles, he was involved in the 180-day program at the Salvation Army.
Oh, nice.
And he was saying that the counselors were telling him in a room full of people, he said, hey, most of you guys, I'll see you again. Yep. You guys will be back, after this program. But probably two of you I won't see.
Yeah.
Right. And my brother looked around and he said, who's the other person? Because I ain't coming back.
Right.
So you got to believe, right?
Yeah.
You got to believe in yourself and not take criticism or any comment that's not positive as a negative. It's feedback.
Yeah.
Right? Feedback that you can improve upon. But it's hard to do. It's easier said than done. It does affect you.
But just practice it.
Yeah.
Take this
Toughen up the
episode,
skin.
get all your notes together, and when those incidents happen, reflect on what you and I talked about today.
Yeah.
And if it's not us, it's another episode on another YouTube somewhere. It's always resources out there that can trigger that point. And one thing I said on our last show, when it came to when I was going through my homelessness and I was living in the hotel, and I asked my dad, who I knew at the time had money, in his little savings thing. And when I asked him for help and he said, I already helped you once. And at that point, when I said I didn't know help ran out, especially from a man who killed and shot my mother, who I felt you owed me. I don't give a darn what I asked for. You better give it because you owed me because you killed my whole mother. At that point was when I felt like there is no such thing as entitlement. That statement that I did on our first show resonated with so many people that a guy, hey Jeff, came down and met me in person because that just resonated with him and literally helped him just move differently. And that's the thing is when you stop feeling entitled to what anybody owes you, as big as somebody who shot and killed your mother, it's all on you.
I'm so glad you shared that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was something that was so powerful that I just shared like it was no big deal, like, oh, I've lived through it, no big deal. But when you stop and you think of how it really resonated with people who are just listening and the different shock values and the different triggers and the different, relatable moments, we are all in this together. So although you're not entitled, but when you sit here and you do the work and make that one friend or be blessed enough to have a tribe, that's where all the fun and success comes. That's when you're not fear of being depressed or fear of the imposter syndrome or fear of having a bad day. And I will tell you, we get a little bit of that throughout the week. Stop acting like all of us is perfect every single day. I don't want to do half the stuff I do every day. But I look at my 3 boys and then they talk smack to me. We talk smack back. We banter and we get it to going. Or I'll just have a friends. Or I feel like I owe the world this. Or I owe my tribe this. Or I owe my social media followers this. And I hold myself accountable because I started something and I want to keep doing it. And so, like I said, if you want God to keep blessing you, you got to continue to share that gift.
And look,
why should he keep blessing you with more gifts and you're not trying to share nothing?
And we got to be better angel watchers.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there that can help us if you just open your mouth.
Yeah, that part.
And
make comments under this YouTube. And I'll look, I read comments.
Read the comments.
So I will reach out.
And then you, no matter where you are, can be an angel to somebody else, right?
It's a circle of life.
Like, yeah, so we're not in this alone.
If you don't sow seeds, you're not going to reap any benefits. There's no harvest seasons for you. And when you guys think about it, you sow seeds, you go and plant whatever you're planting in the backyard. It's not going to grow with just dirt and sun. It needs rain, it needs water. So when you have those bad days, when you're crying, those are those tears that are watering those seeds. So be okay. Cry if you need to. Just know, like, you know what? After this, the sun's going to come out and we're going to start getting some harvest. Like, be okay with all that. Be okay with being a human being.
Be okay
before
with the process,
AI comes
right?
And the next person next to you is a robot. Like, be okay being a human.
You remind me of what I say sometimes when people authentically ask me how I'm doing, right? Because there are times where, there are things that are going well.
Yeah.
And there are things that are going like not so well. I would use a different adjective for that, but I might get beeped. So in any place, I always say, look, I'm winning because I woke up.
Yeah.
And then I say I'm struggling as usual.
No.
Because there's areas in my life that I'm struggling in, right?
Yeah.
I would prefer not to struggle in, but that's my growth. And so one of the things I want to ask you before we do the wrap is, how do we get people to understand that this is a continuous process? It's like, this is not like, okay, I checked that box. This is a practice that has to be practiced consistently with discipline, regardless of how you feel.
People have to figure out what their end why is, what their end goal is. Like we can sit here and paint it for them, but if it's not the same end goal, then there's no point in sharing what we do. They have to figure out what it is that they want, whether it be to live a certain lifestyle, whether it to be just barely enough, which I hate, but hey, if that's your cup of tea, go for it. Some people are meant to just do a 9 to 5 with no responsibilities, come home, pay bills, and go get that nice happy hour, and that's completely fine. Some people want to have, wait, I want endless money. Like, I want unlimited money so I can travel at the drop of whenever I feel like it. I want to go build up a whole new community. I want to do things with the blessings that God gives me. So for me, it's just genuinely figuring out what it is. What is your purpose? What is your purpose? Yeah. Like, meditate and figure out what is it that's going to make you want to wake up every day to achieve your purpose. What is it that God or the universe is asking of you? And what are you doing towards it? What are you doing to invest in yourself to make you valuable enough to produce whatever it is your purpose is?
You know what? I like that because as you were talking about, people have different purposes. I
Hmm.
shared the story about, you know, in my cancer journey and how I met with doctors, technicians, receptionists, and nutritionists. Like I met with everybody on the spectrum, right? Caregivers, and every one of them, regardless of the level of money that they make, were pursuing their purpose.
Hmm.
And I'm the benefactor of that.
Yeah.
I'm a benefactor of the researchers and the doctors who spent the years in school to and the surgeons who
Yeah.
learn their profession and get paid a lot of money. But I also am very beneficial or appreciative of the receptionists
Hmm.
and the nurses and everyone on the lower end of the pay scale
Yeah.
because they're pursuing their purpose. And my journey, I interacted with each and every one of them,
For sure.
right? And they were excellent in their craft,
Yeah.
and they needed to be there because I needed that help, right? So when we go back and we look at what do you want? Do you want to just go to a job, do a
Yeah.
job, make money, and provide for your family? Whatever that is, that's okay. So there's no
As
judgment on
long
your
as you are happy.
yeah, there's no judgment on your
Yeah.
purpose, right? And so when you look at what we talked about, and when we're going to summarize this, um, it's safe to say that we're all excelling at something,
Yeah.
right? We're excelling at stuff that we intentionally want,
Hmm.
or we are excelling at default, right? And whatever your level of dissatisfaction is, it can you can change that,
Yeah.
right? But it's going to take work. It's going to take you putting on paper or being more aware of what your purpose is and what you're doing, your progress towards your intention and your opportunities for growth,
Yeah.
right?
I was just at that school I was telling you about, and this one young kid, he sat by himself, but he had so much like drive. He's asking everybody, I need an internship. I love finances. Like I need to know who's offering an internship right now. And everybody kept saying, well, hun, like you gotta wait another year because we're not
Mhm.
gonna take it till it's college level or this level. And these are high school kids. So I told him, I said, sweetheart, build your value now. Don't wait on that year. Don't sit here and wait on this company to say, okay, I'm ready for you now. Stop that. Focus on you now. Why should I give you my finances? Because finances is a whole world of privacy. Why do I trust a whole little high school kid with some money? What are you doing? I said, right now there's social media. You have tons of free clients right there. But what are you doing to build trust? What are you doing for yourself right now? What have you invested in yourself? You told me you had your own company. You made $1,000 and now it shut down. Why don't you go reopen it, revamp it, take that 1,000 and turn it into 5,000, turn it into 2,000. Show me your steps, show me your successes, and then I'll let you play with mine.
You know, it's interesting you said
Stop
that.
waiting. Like that's what I'm saying. So stop waiting for people to tell you to wait. Like screw them. No disrespect. While you're waiting, if you're waiting, focus on yourself. No, you don't wait for anybody. Time waits for nobody. So every day, build value. And at that point, you're so valuable, you don't need a fancy degree. You don't need a fancy timeline. You don't need a fancy validation because your proof is already what you're saying you can do for somebody.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
along those lines, you got Robert Smith, right?
Yeah.
Who's the black billionaire in Austin, I believe, right? He in high school was applying for an internship
Hmm.
at a company that typically internships go to college grads, but
Right.
he kept applying, and they eventually looked at his work and listened to him and gave him an opportunity to give his pitch of his value, right?
Yeah.
So the student is the same way. And since I'm in financial services, I would say that student has knowledge already. There's a need for financial literacy
Hmm.
in schools at his peer level.
Yeah.
So he can begin doing his YouTube channel, put content out there,
I told him
and
that.
start teaching, now. Don't
Yeah.
wait, right?
Yeah.
Don't wait. And there's somebody out there, there's a financial advisor that can give him a position
Hmm.
to know what it's really like. Because there's programs for high school students to work for a business or an entrepreneur in the field that they want to
Yeah.
succeed in and get that information, get that value, see what it's like, right?
Yeah.
So it would be great. Share that information with me. I'll connect him with some people. He
Exactly.
can
I
get
will.
some
I'll see if
experience.
I can get his information. But that's the thing. Like, that's my biggest thing. Like, don't wait for somebody's validation or don't wait your turn when you can create your turn.
Yeah, now.
You know what I'm saying? Like, get that excitement back.
So, like I said, we can talk forever, but I want to know this. So we want to give hope, inspiration, education, and connection to resources.
Mhm.
So how do people connect with you? Give people a way of getting in touch with you if they want to find out more about your services, or just get some of this energy and wisdom that you're.
Well, by the time this airs, prayerfully, my new website will be revamped. But if not, keep it anyway and then keep coming back. It's iknowlinda.com. It's going to be INGO, which is my last name, Linda.com, LINDA. If not, No Limit Inc. at Gmail, which you guys know again, no is NGO. My Instagram is The Pop Up Talk, which that's going to be a new podcast I'm going to be working on soon as well. The Linda No Show, look out for that sometime this year. And I think LinkedIn, The Linda No or Linda No. I don't share Facebook because they cap you.
Yeah.
Instagram is unlimited. LinkedIn, it's unlimited. So emails and then that website.
So basically, if people want to get in touch with you, they should be able to find you. If they
or
can't,
just go back and watch this episode and I will leave a comment with all my ways.
Well, actually, I should have said this in the very beginning, but all of the things that we've talked about and more things that we didn't talk about is going to be available under the video.
See, all the goodies. See, that's where the resources are. Just call Clifton. If you want me, just find him.
Yeah. Email thrive@empowerseries.com. So this is great. I would like to give you an opportunity to provide a closing comment, words of encouragement, or whatever you want to share, right?
Yeah.
To everybody who's stuck in this long to the very end.
I know. Thank you for staying here. Or even if you skimmed and skipped, thank you too. But the only limit is the limit you put on yourself. So take it day by day, take it hour by hour, go at your own speed, but just make sure you celebrate each progress and stop being so hard on yourself. Each win is a win and stop discounting that. So other than that, keep a no limit mindset.
So sometimes my daughter told me one time, said, "Dad, you're thinking too loud." Because I was just thinking no limit.
Yeah. I mean, that's my brand.
So I want to thank you. Right. I want to
you.
thank you. And like more than words can it really express, because like I said before, the most precious resource we have is our time. And you've invested your time here with the Empower series. I believe that the dividends from that time is going to far exceed our imagination, for generations to come. And so thank you so much for that. And I want to thank you for also watching and sticking in with us. Like Linda said, whether you're here at the very end, you watched all of it, or you just watched slips and pieces, definitely come back and watch this again, because the Empower series is to be shared, right? And it's a practice. It's not like a check the box. So stay connected with us. If you want to find out more about the Empower series, you can go to our website, which is www.empowerseries.com. You're on YouTube right now, so definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this video with somebody else. Do not keep this a secret to yourself, right? Or stay engaged with any of our social media content. If you want to provide feedback, there's a survey button in the top right-hand corner on our website. If you want to find out about our next event coming up, there's a flyer up there where you can click on the image and register. And if you want to donate, if you want to give some of your resources to support the Empower series and what we do, you can always donate, click the donate button, or you can text give or donate to 214-225-6337. You'll receive a secured website link where you can make a donation. But whatever you do, giving of your time, your talents, or your treasures, we want to appreciate you. And we want to make sure that we've given you hope, inspiration, education, and connection to resources. Stay engaged with us. And until we meet again, be empowered and inspired to thrive.